वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। 32nd class started with introduction to Vedanta, and now we are in the text and discussing on the topic sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. You can please repeat after me from the Mangala shloka onwards. Vasudevendra yogindram
वासुदेवेन्द्र योगीन्द्रम्
ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुम्
ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुम्
मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते। साधनचतुष्टय सम्पन्नाधिकारिणाम् मोक्षसाधनभूतम् तत्त्वविवेकप्रकारम् वक्ष्यामः। साधनचतुष्टयं किम्? नित्यानित्यवस्तु विवेकः कामुत्रार्थफलभोग विरागः शमादिषट्कसम्पत्तिः मुमुक्षुत्वं चेति नित्यानित्यवस्तु विवेकः कः?
नित्यानित्यवस्तु
नित्यानित्यवस्तु
विवेकः
नित्यवस्तु एकं ब्रह्म
नित्यवस्तु
नित्यवस्त्वेकं
एकं
ब्रह्म
ब्रह्म
तद्व्यतिरिक्तं सर्वम् अनित्यम्
तद्व्यतिरिक्तं
तद्व्यतिरिक्तं
सर्वम्
सर्वम्
अनित्यम्
अनित्यम्
अयम् एव नित्यानित्यवस्तु विवेकः
अयम् एव नित्यानित्यवस्तु
नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः
विवेकः
विरागः कः
विरागः
विरागः
इह स्वर्गभोगेषु विचाराहित्यम्
इह
सर्वभोगेषु
सर्गभोगेषु
इच्छाराहित्यम्
इच्छाराहित्यम्
क्षमादिषट्कसम्पत्तिः का
क्षमादिषट्सम्पत्तिः
क्षमादिषट्सम्पत्तिः
का
का
शमः दमः उपरमः
शमः दमः
उपरमः
उपरमः
तितिक्षा श्रद्धा समाधानं च इति
तितिक्षा
तितिक्षा
श्रद्धा
श्रद्धा
समाधानं
समाधानं
च
च
इति
इति
शमः कः
शमः कः
नो निग्रहः
मनोनिग्रहः
दमः कः
दमः
चक्षुरादि इन्द्रियनिग्रहः
चक्षुरादि इन्द्रियनिग्रहः
परमः कः
परमः कः
धर्मानुष्ठानम् एव
स्वधर्मानुष्ठानम् एव
तितिक्षा का
तितिक्षा का
शीतोष्णसुखदुःखादि सहिष्णुत्वम्
शीतोष्णसुखादिसहिष्णुत्वम्
तथा कीदृशी
श्रद्धा कीदृशी
वेदान्तवाक्येषु विश्वासः श्रद्धा
गुरुवेदान्तवाक्येषु विश्वासः श्रद्धा
समाधानं किम्
समाधानं किम्
चित्तैकाग्रता
चित्तैकाग्रता
मुमुक्षुत्वं किम्
मुमुक्षुत्वं किम्
मोक्षो मे भूयात् इति इच्छा
मोक्षो मे भूयात्
भूयात्
इति इच्छा
एतत् साधनचतुष्टयम्
एतत्
साधनचतुष्टयम्
साधनचतुष्टयम्
अतः तत्त्वविवेकस्य अधिकारिणः भवन्ति
ततः तत्त्वविवेकस्य अधिकारिणः भवन्ति
We are discussing the topic Shamaha after Viveka Vairagya under Shamadi Shatka Sampattihi, the sixfold wealth Sampatti. The first one is Shamaha. Sadhana Chatushtayam means the fourfold qualifications. That is the Sadhana Chatushtayam. Fourfold qualifications. It means the person has to cultivate this qualification. The fourfold qualification is meant to discover the person. It's meant to discover the person who is already complete. Purnaha. Who is Purnaha? Who is not different from Jagat Karanam Brahma. This fourfold qualifications, we need to understand about this a little more. It is not something which you gain externally. It is discovering the person that is you, in you, discovering the person in you by scrapping off the things, which cover the knowledge, this knowledge. What knowledge? Self-knowledge, Atma-jnanam. In the form of malad, impurities. There is a covering over your personality that has to be scrapped off. That has to be scrapped off to discover the person in you. And that person is what is meant here as the adhikari. So therefore, it is qualification doesn't mean you gain a new degree, like you get a master's degree, you're a qualified person, you get a PhD degree, that you gain by your action from the external world. But this qualification is not like that. That's why we use the word adhikaritvam, the status of being an adhikari. You grow to the status of being a person qualified for the pursuit of Atma-jnana. You grow. That growing is important. That growing, that is scrapping off the impurities, the form of raga, dvesha. Raga is attachment, dvesha is aversion. Raga, dvesha, and other impurities, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, all those shat ripus, the six enemies, you have to remove them. Remove them and understand the person without all this, what you are, that person. That person is the adhikari. That person is the adhikari. Therefore, if you are completely qualified, if you are 100% sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari, then self-knowledge will not be a problem, because that is what you are. Therefore, there is no 100% adhikari also. If a person is 100% adhikari, then he must be a jnani also. So adhikaritvam is, therefore, it's a growing thing. A person grows over a period of time by gaining a lot of experiences in life. A person grows and grows, understands, and continues to grow to be a better person, a mature person, a complete person, a relatively complete person, to understand that I am complete. That is what sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is. So when you have grown sufficiently to understand the truth, when the teaching is unfolded, the knowledge must take place. There is no other choice. You cannot help. The knowledge will take place. You become a jnani. The knowledge takes place. That moment when the teaching is given, when the teaching is understood. Therefore, now, even though the teaching is understood, because there are some coverings, there are malas, impurities, in many forms. Therefore, the teaching is appreciated, but the result of the teaching, as though not experienced, as though not experienced. In fact, there is no experience in this subject matter, because it is you, in the presence of you only everything is experienced, and you are complete, and you want to experience a complete person. That that is not possible. Experiencing the experiencer is not possible. You cannot objectify yourself as an object of experience to understand that you are complete. That is not possible. Therefore, if you have any objective experience, if you have any wish to gain objective experience through to the gaining of this knowledge, that is not possible. Any experience is going to be limited. You are the limitless, Shastram says. You are complete. A complete thing cannot experience. If it has to experience, it has to become incomplete. It has to become limited to experience. Therefore, understanding is what important. Understanding that aham purnaha, I am complete. I don't lack anything. I am free. Aham muktaha. That is what the teaching is. That is what the Shastram unfolds. And for that, one has to chisel oneself, chiseling oneself, sharpening oneself, scrapping off oneself, remove all the coverings to make oneself a fit person to receive the teaching. That is called the sadhana chatushtaya iti. So the fourfold qualifications need to understand that it is not something you gain it. That is what you are. You are that person. You are that person which is complete. A complete person, there is no anxiety, there is no worry. A complete person is complete. There is enough vairagya. Vairagya is there. You are complete. You don't anchor for anything. You have got shama, you have got dhamma, you have got everything is there, and you are already muktaha because you are complete. The knowledge is there. You are free. Therefore, discover that one has to be that person. Therefore, we talk about sadhana chatushtayam. That is why we use the word very specifically, adhikaritvam. The status of being an adhika, discovering oneself to be that person for suitable for, qualified for this pursuit, adhikaritvam. If you are not an adhikari, then adhikaritvam is not possible. If you have not completed master's degree, then you cannot pursue PhD degree. You are not an adhikari. Having only a bachelor degree, you want to gain the master's, you want to gain the PhD, with bachelor degree, you are not an adhikari. That is not the case here. That is not the case here. The qualification, the word what we use, it is not the case here. Here, the adhikaritvam, you are the qualifier, discovering yourself to be that person. That is the adhikaritvam. So, therefore, we need to understand this. When we talk about adhikaritvam, means qualified. You are the qualified person. And you shape yourself to become more and more fit for the receipt and the enjoying the teaching, accepting the teaching, assimilating the teaching. That makes you the person. Now, under this sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, sadhana chatushtayam, we have been discussing this sadhanani, which are very important as a person pursuing this self-knowledge. And all these topics have been culled, as I told, from the Shastram and presented by the Sampradaya. in a systematic way so that we understand and we prepare ourselves for that. So now the topic is Shamaha, about which we are discussing. Shama, the word to be understood, the translation has to be done properly. There are many translations available. With Tattvabodha, many translations, many books are written by different authors in English interpretation. The commentaries are available. But you need to understand what Shama, that need to be translated properly. The best translation, as I told in the previous class, Shamaha means mastery over mind. Mastery over mind, not control over mind. Shamaha means making the mind free from the mental, making the mind free from stress-free mind. If a person has a stress-free mind, then he is a Shami. He is a Shami. And this, the mind in English is called Antakaranam in Sanskritam. Karanam is instrument. The very word Karanam itself shows the mind is an instrument. Like any other tool, the body is also an instrument. It's a sadhanam. The body is a sadhanam. For what? For doing dharma. For doing a dharma, dharma means karma. For doing a karma, in keeping with dharma, this body is a sadhanam. Similarly, mind is a sadhanam, an instrument. Antakaranam, it is inner instrument. Why inner instrument? Because we have Bhagya Karanam. External instruments are there in the form of sense organs of perception, sense organs of action. Therefore, we have Antakaranam and Bhagya Karanam. Antakaranam means mind. And in Vedanta, Antakaranam, in our Shastram, Antakaranam means inner instrument. That inner instrument, as it plays 4 roles. It plays 4 roles, like a person playing different roles. A person can play the role of a father, or he can play the role of a son. He can play the role of the husband. He can play the role of brother, younger brother, elder brother, or as an employer or employee, or as a citizen. So many roles he plays, the same person, depending on the person with whom he interacts. Similarly, the same Antakaranam plays different roles. 4-fold roles it plays. 4-fold, 4 types of roles it plays. It can be a mind, a manas, Antakaranam plays a role of the manas, the mind. Sometimes plays a role of buddhi, the intellect. Then chittam, memory, and ahankara. Manaha, buddhihi, chittam, ahankara. All these four are referred by the word Antakaranam, only one word. But in English, we use the word mind. And generally, manas is translated as the mind. But Antakaranam is mind. Antakaranam means the mind. You can call manas also as mind, and the Antakaranam plays a role of the manas. And Antakaranam, inner instrument. And this Antakaranam has to be free from any stress, has to be free, relatively free. The Antakaranam must be available for the pursuit of the study of Shastram. Therefore, the mind, the instrument, the Antakaranam has to be light. In fact, the purpose of studying all the Shastrams are meant to cultivate this Shama, to cultivate or to make the available to make the mind available for the person. The mind should be available for the person. All the Shastram, the teachings are meant for it. Shamartam Sharva Shastrani, Dhitani Manishibihi, Sayeva Sarva Shastrajnaha, Yasya Shantam Manassada. In Mahabharata, the shloka comes. Shamartam Sharva Shastrani, all the Shastras, it is meant for cultivating this Shama. They teach us, they teach to cultivate this Shama. Digitani Manishibihi. Digitani Manishibihi. All the Shastras, the Manishibihi, the learned people, the Pandits, the Jnanis, Digitani. Sayeva Sarva Shastrajna. He is the person who has known the Shastra, whose mind is calm, the quiet. Whose mind is calm and quiet, that person is a knower of all the Shastras. Because the Tatparyam of all the Shastras is only is Shama. The Tatparyam of all the Shastram, Shamartam Sarva Shastrani, is to quieten the mind, make the mind calm. To make the mind calm. To make the mind free from any disturbances. That is the purpose of the Shastram. And therefore, that person is called a Shastrajna, learned person. Who is that person? Whose mind is quiet, relatively calm. Therefore, a calm mind, a calm mind, a calm mind alone can be light, a light mind. If the mind is heavy, then as an instrument, you won't be able to handle the mind because it is heavy to handle, loaded with a lot of emotions, anxieties, worries, concerns. The mind is not at peace. It becomes very heavy. The instrument becomes very heavy, loaded with emotions. Emotions don't have any weight, any physical weight. They have got mental weight. That mental weight makes the mind very heavy. We feel it very heavy. Not only that physical thing is heavy, even the emotions also make you feel heavy. So therefore, mind is an instrument. Should it be light or heavy? It should be, as much as possible, it should be light. Only when it is light, it can be handled as an instrument by us. Even the instrument what we use, external instruments, any instrument we use, any electronic gadgets, if it is heavy, then we won't be able to handle it. That is why even the mobile is lightweight mobile, to make it very light, easy to handle. Similarly, the mind also has to be light. Light means what? It has to be calm. The light mind alone has this shanti, manashanti, peace of mind. And peace of mind, first we need peace of mind for our survival. Without peace of mind, survival is not possible. Then only study of Shastram, then gaining self-knowledge. Forget about the self-knowledge and study of Shastram. Peace of mind is not there, then how can we survive? How can we live? For just to live, survive, peace of mind is required. And then to accomplish the goals of life, whatever the goals you have, whether short terms or long terms, to pursue, for that also we need peace of mind. Even though it involves action, and action involves a lot of reaction and brings in other situations, but still you need to have a calm and composed mind. Only if the mind is composed, then only the goals also, life's goals also, the material goals also can be accomplished. What to talk of spiritual goals? And only when the mind is composed, calm, then only you can enjoy physical health also. Then only you can enjoy the physical well-being. A stressed mind will invite physical as well as mental problems, a lot of mental problems, and you need to take tablets for that. So, therefore, Mano Nigraha is required all the way. Even for leading a normal material life in the world, you need certain mano nigraha, the tranquility of the mind. And if you're interested in gaining or pursuing certain thing, then the mind should be available for you, should be available for you, should support you. Therefore, mano nigraha, availability of the mind, that is called mano nigraha shamaha. So therefore, mind is very important, and it is one of the privilege which a human being enjoys. There are many privileges which a human being enjoys. One is a mind given to us by Bhagavan. The mind is a privilege, and the thinking mind is a privilege. And how to handle the mind, that is up to you. And because of this faculty of mind only, I am able to feel the emotions of myself. The emotions which come out, the anger, the anxiety, different types of emotion which arises in me. How do I know that emotions are in me or which arises in me? Because of the mind. The mind reflects the person. Mind is not the person. We need to understand this. The mind is not the person. The mind reflects a person. That is why we also use this phrase, reading the mind. Reading the mind is reading the person. The mind is not the person. Mind is only a reflector. So we read the mind means we read the person. The person's what the person is. The mind is not doesn't have anger. The person is angry, and that is reflected in the mind. The mind doesn't have any this raga and dvesha. The person has raga and dvesha. The mind reflects that. The mind is not doesn't have any worry or concern. The person is worried. The person is concerned. The person is anxious. The mind reflects that. The mind is an instrument. It is meant for the mind is meant for knowing things. The mind is meant for remembering things. The mind is meant for, at the same time, to entertain emotions. The emotions of you are reflected in the mind. That is what the mind does. So, therefore, we say the mind is a seat of emotion as well as knowledge. The emotions of you are reflected in the mind. Therefore, we say mind is a seat of emotions. And for gaining knowledge, you need mind. Through mind only you gain knowledge. Not that mind gains knowledge. You gain the knowledge. Therefore, therefore, we study the mind. Therefore, we see the mind, and we say the mind is an emotional mind, a cognitive mind. It's all about the person. What the person is reflected by the mind. And that itself clearly shows mind is an instrument. So, what a mind is because of the person, what the person is. So therefore, if the mind has a problem, it is not the mind which is having the problem, it is a person. Thank God, mind at least reveals what the problem is. It means the person has problem and the person has to correct it. He has to correct and grow. So Bhagavan has given that. Bhagavan has given the mind. Therefore, it is not for whipping. It is not for controlling. When we say mind, even if you use the word mind control, there we need to understand it is not the mind control, really speaking. It is the person. The person has to control himself. The mind, as an indicator, reflects the person's emotions, the person's status, what the person is. Therefore, the person has to need to have need to grow. The person need to have mastery over himself. That is what the Shama is. So, no point in controlling the mind. You being what you are, and you just whip the mind, control the mind, suppress the mind, that is not going to help. That is not going to help. So, therefore, mind is generally it is it is whipped. That is not proper. That is why the word Shama is also better not to translate as control. Control means is a sense of suppression, a sense of whipping comes. Mind is not for whipping. You need to understand yourself through the mind. Therefore, mind being what it is, it's just the reflector. You study the person behind the mind, and through the mind, you you can you can grow. The person can grow. That's what the mind is. And for gaining of any knowledge, mind is required. Mind as an instrument should be available, should be focused, should be concentrated on a particular topic. Therefore, Bhagavan has given this, the mind. Therefore, we need to appreciate the mind. We need to appreciate the mind as a wonderful instrument given to us by Bhagavan. And it should be available for our use. Whenever I require, the mind should be available. And the mind should not overwhelm me. The mind should be available for me. And to lead a very disease-free, healthy life, we need a stress-free mind. Therefore, the calmness of mind, the mind free from stress, it is emphasized. It is emphasized by the Shastra. Only when the mind is calm and quiet, then only the buddhi also will function. Otherwise, buddhi will not function. Even though you are a knowledgeable person, you are well informed, studied, but all this will come to help only when the mind is calm. Then only buddhi will function. Otherwise, buddhi will not function. So, therefore, the mind, if the person is happy, the mind is happy. If the person is sad, the mind is sad. If the person is not, it's loaded with emotions, then mind becomes turbulent, and then the turbulent mind, the buddhi will not function. Then you cannot take any decision also in life. So therefore, the mind has to be kept relatively happy. If the mind is happy, the whole world looks happy for you. Chitte prasanne bhuvanam prasannam. Chitte vishanne bhuvanam vishannam. Atho bilasho yedite sukhe syat chitta prasade pratamam yatasva. Chitta prasadam, the calmness, the tranquility of the mind. Chitta prasadam pratamam yatasva. If you want happiness, first you take care of the mind. Chitte prasanne bhuvanam prasannam. When the mind is happy, the whole world looks happy, seems to be happy for you. If the mind is not happy, chitte vishanne, the mind is not happy. If it is troubled, disturbed, then the whole world disturbs you. No, the world disturbing gives you disturbance, or the world gives you pleasure, happiness. Neither. The world being what it is only your mind. It is your mind alone that perceives the world as a source of dukkha or a source of sukha. The world means the world over which you have transaction. It could be a person or a situation or an object. They being what they are, it is only the mind. That is why we say manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho bandhaya vishaya saktihi muktei nirvishayam manaha manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. Bandha and moksha is bondage and freedom. For that, mind alone is the karan. Mind alone is the karan. A mind which is free from sadness, free from stress, it is free, moksha. The mind which has got worries, concerns, then the mind is bandha. It is in bandha. It has got raga and dvesha. So, therefore, manayeva karana. For we have to keep the mind. And as the mind, as the person, so the mind, and as the mind, so the speech also, your activities and other activities, all it will be in keeping with your mind. Yatha chittam tata vachaha. Yatha vachaha tata kriyaha. As your chitta is mind. As your mind, so will be the speech. What the mind thinks, what you think, what you are, the mind is, and what the mind is, you are. Now, the parasparam, there is a connection is there. So, what you think is only the mind reflects. So, what the mind thinks, you speak. And what you speak, that only you do. Yata chittam tata vachaha. Yata vachaha tata kriyaha, actions. Chitte vachi kriyayancha sadhunam ekarupata. Sadhunam ekarupata. Sadhunam, for the noble person, for the sadhus, for the great people, chitta, vak, and kriya, they all will be in alignment, complete alignment. There will not be any disharmony between these three, between the chitta, vak, and kriya. You think something, you say something, and you do something, so complete disharmony. There is no alignment. Therefore, chitta, as the chitta, so will be your vak. As a vak, so you do it. If there is in any alignment, that also shows the problem with the mind only, the problem with the person. So, therefore, if you are a person, a sadhu, a noble person, then these three will be matching. There will not be any disharmony. So, therefore, the mind, the shama is very important. That is why it is stressed in the beginning. Having a balanced mind. Having a balanced mind is very important for the pursuit of self-knowledge, Atmagyan. And therefore, it is the first discipline in the Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi. Mind management. Mind management. Managing the mind. As I said, that mind is in the hands of the user. The user uses the instrument mind. The mind is not independent. The mind is not independent. It is used by the user. It depends on the user. So therefore, mind being an instrument and it dependent on the user, will you allow the mind to overwhelm you or will you allow the mind to work under you? Should be a servant or should be the master? Should be the servant. That is why we say that the mind be your servant. Then you don't become the slave of the mind. And if you become the slave, then it becomes a bad master. Mind is a good servant, but it is a bad master. You allow the tool to overpower you. You allow the tool to control you. So therefore, taking care of the mind in any field, for success in any field, and very particularly in the study of Vedanta, the Nigraha is very important. The mind should be available for you. Only when the mind is available, you will be able to accomplish any action. Even if you are reading, even if you are listening to me, if the mind is not here, the mind will the mind goes all over. Then you won't be able to understand or appreciate what I say. The mind should be available, should have certain focus. That is why Shama is emphasized. It's not just a definition for the definition's sake. We have to understand what Shama is. And we have to see how Shama is required in all these areas. In the study of Shastram, how Shama is important. Not only in the study of Shastram, even in the external action, external field, in the Vyavahara, in the outside world, how Shama is important. So, what is Shama? We have seen. And what is not Shama also we have seen. Shama is not suppressing the mind. It is not controlling the mind. It's not controlling the thoughts of the mind. The thoughts comes whether you want it or not. The thoughts come. Certain thoughts are voluntary, certain thoughts are involuntary. That is how it is. And involuntary thoughts also, whatever thoughts have gone inside, it comes. So certain thoughts It comes voluntarily, certain thoughts involuntarily. Voluntary is that you decide to entertain certain thoughts. You decide to do a certain thing today, a list of activities. You entertain thought. You entertain the thought. What are the activities to be accomplished today? That you prioritize. You think. You need to think what are the daily schedule, and accordingly you plan. You voluntarily entertain thoughts. You're planning to go somewhere abroad, so you voluntarily think what are the things to be done. Getting from passport, visa, passport onwards. These are the voluntary thoughts. Voluntarily, you entertain thoughts. And there are involuntary thoughts. Involuntary thoughts. Involuntary thoughts over which you don't have any specific, you don't deliberately entertain. It comes. You don't have that much control, but it comes and goes. Let it come and go because that is what the mind is meant for. It comes. Whatever is stored in the mind, when the mind is relatively free and calm, it just comes to the surface and goes away. It will not stay for a long time. It comes and goes away. Involuntary thoughts. You don't deliberately entertain those thoughts. When you listen or see something, often you see that the mind goes somewhere. Sometimes you see the person, your eyes are open, but you are not seeing the person. Your mind is somewhere else. The person may think that you are seeing the person, but your mind is somewhere else. Often we end up with the problem, seeing that you have seen me, but you did not talk to me. Then you will say, no, my mind was elsewhere. It means something has occupied your mind involuntarily. If it is voluntarily, then you would be able to recognize a person standing in front of you. So, this involuntary thoughts also to be handled. If the thoughts are involuntary, then you have to bring the alertness. The mind has to become alert. You have to become alert. When the thoughts are, as long as the involuntary thoughts are not provoking, then it is fine. But certain involuntary thoughts, it will provoke you. So that time you have to become very alert. So once you become alert, then you can have a say over that. You can change the thought pattern. That is within your ambit of control, managing. So therefore, Shama is not thought control. Controlling the thoughts, it's regularizing the thoughts, channelizing the thoughts. That is a good thing, but not controlling, not suppressing. You can channelize the thoughts. If any bad thoughts come, it can be channelized properly. So therefore, mind being what it is meant for entertaining thoughts only. Mind is nothing but thoughts. Therefore, Shama is not removing the thoughts. Shama is not the absence of thoughts. It is an instrument. Its job is to entertain thoughts. Thoughts will come, whether involuntarily or voluntarily. And by Shama, I will remove all the thoughts, make the mind very blank. It is not possible. You cannot destroy the mind. Mind is an instrument. So you cannot destroy the mind. Mano Nasha is not possible. So Shama is not to destroy the mind. Shama is not absence of thought. If absence of thought is what is intended, then why do we talk about Mano Nigraha? Mano Nigraha is not required at all. There is no need to have the Mano Nigraha. Simply Mano Nasha. The definition should have been Mano Nashaha, Shamaha, but it is not the definition. Why I say this? Because people talk about Mano Nasha, destroying the mind. You cannot destroy the mind. That is not the mind is meant for. If it is meant for destroying, then Bhagavan need not have given you the mind. And if it is meant for the suppression of or the removal of all the thoughts, then you don't have to be active. You just take some medicine, some drugs, and remain under sedation. No thoughts will be there, so you are free. You can take some sleeping tablet or some sedation, undergo some sedation. There will not be any thoughts. Is it what Mano Nigraha? No. If that is what is Mano Nigraha, then the person in coma will be enjoying Shama. That is not Shama. Therefore, what is Shama and what is not Shama? Both we need to understand. It is required all the way to appreciate to appreciate our study, our pursuit. So, therefore, Shama is the tranquility, composure, making the mind available for your pursuit. That is what is called Shama. And in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna, it talks about this Shama. In many places, he uses the word Niyata Manasaha, Shanta Manasaha, iti. Many places he uses. Prashantatma Vigatabhihi Brahmachari Vrate Sthitaha Manas Sanyamya Machittaha Yukta Asita Matparaha. Manas Sanyamya. Sanyamya, generally the word Sanyamya is translated Samyak Yamya, restraining. That the word restraining is wrongly translated as controlling. It is restraining, withdrawing the mind from the thoughts and making it focused on the pursuit, on the subject matter. That is called Manasayamya, and it is required. That is what Lord Krishna says in the 6th chapter. The 6th chapter deals with dhyana. Dhyana, it's titled as Dhyana Yoga. Dhyanam is not possible without mind. Therefore, all the way in this 6th chapter, you will find Bhagavan Krishna. You will talk about this Shama. This Shama is very important. Yada viniyatam chittam atmanyeva Yada viniyatam chittam. Viniyatam, withdrawing the chittam and place it on the Atma, which is a subject matter of discussion. Nisprihas sarvakamebhyaha yuktagityuchyate tada yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyata manasaha. Yogi, person, yogi, niyata manasaha, whose mind is sufficiently restrained. Shantim nirvana paramam matsamstavadhigacchati. He gains shanti. He gains the nirvana. Nirvana paramam. Nirvana paramam, the absolute shanti he gains. So you can understand how this Shama is appreciated all the way. And in Kathopanishad, the beautiful mantra is there, where the Upanishad, it presents an imagery. This Sharira is the Ratha, chariot. This Shariram is compared to the chariot. And Buddhi is compared to the Sarathi. Buddhi is compared to the Sarathi, the one who drives the chariot. And Manaha is compared to the reins, which holds the horses. And who is the person? Who is the Rati? Who is the Rati? Shariram is Ratha. Buddhi is Sarathi. So who is the master of the chariot? That is you. Atmanam ratinam vidhi. Shariram ratamevacha. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. Manaf pragrahame vacha. You the master of the chariot, and this body of the chariot is the Sharira is the body of the chariot, and Buddhi of you is a Sarathi, and the Buddhi holds the reins of the horses. The horses are the Indriyas, Indriyani. The Indriyanis are connected to the Buddhi through the reins, which is the mind, and the Buddhi holds it. Buddhi, Manas, they are not different. They are all Antakaranam. But Buddhi will function only when Manas has got Shama. Only when the mind has got Shama, then only Buddhi will function. Buddhi will surface. Otherwise, the Buddhi cannot hold the mind. When Buddhi cannot hold the mind, and the mind has the hold over these Indriyas, and Indriyas, they fly, they run over the objects. So if for the Buddhi to function, the mind is required. Mind should be available. The mind is the reins which connects the horses, the indriyas, and the buddhi. Therefore, the mind has to be need to have shama, so that the buddhi, the antakaranam, can play the role of buddhi and have a sufficient say over the indriyas. Otherwise, if the indriyas goes all over, then the person will not be a sane person. He will not be able to lead a normal life. Therefore, you can understand the importance of the shama. In every activity, we need to watch whether shama is there, whether I have sufficient shama to handle the situation, to handle the task at hand. So therefore, shama is very significant. To lead a happy life, a physically healthy life, we need shama. So if shama is not there, ashantasya kutas sukham, where is sukham for that person? When shama is required for relative happiness and moksha is the absolute happiness, then it is all the more required. That is why shama is emphasized. More on shama, we will talk. We'll talk about shama further in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri
Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.